We're going to talk about custom commerce experiences. And at the end, we're going to talk about something I'm really excited about. So stick around and you'll get to see something really cool. So we all know this. Experiences are everything. We've heard about this multiple times today in different ways. We just heard Fod talk about how mobile is so important to what we're doing. But grabbing buyers' attention is getting more and more challenging. They're surrounded by offers from competitors, and platforms like Shopify are giving anybody the tools needed to compete against some of the biggest brands in the world. Whether it's in-store, at home, or on the go, buyers expect seamless experiences that delight them. And these experiences aren't just limited to what they see on the storefront. So whether it's from discovery of products to putting them in the cart, from cart to checkout, including the back office, all of this is critical to the buyer's experience. Earlier today on the main stage, we announced the Storefront API, which is a powerful new way for you to build custom experiences for the brands that rely on you. And this just isn't another way for you guys to put a buying experience on an existing website. It could do that, but the possibilities this enables are really far, far greater. All of Shopify's own SDKs, whether it be Mobile Buy, JS Buy, or the Unity Buy SDKs, are built on top of and using the Storefront API. And I think it's actually really important to just think about that for a second. So all of the technology and what we've built that empowers us to give you guys these tools is now in your hands. So you can build the next SDK that none of us are thinking about. You can build the next experience that none of us have ever thought of. Whether that's VR, AR, gaming, or other channels that none of us have dreamed about, this is in your hands now with your ability to do. Combine this with the custom storefront SDKs that we already provide you, and you have the ability to both rapidly develop whatever experiences you'd like, or to go really deep in the API with the storefront API in places that we haven't thought of. So I'd like to talk now a little bit about one of the things that's probably most familiar to all of you, and that's customization of checkout. So customizing the cart to checkout experience has always been one of the key features that you get as merchants upgrade and join Shopify Plus. And there's two ways that we've actually provided people to do that in the past. So the first is through Shopify scripts. And the second is by directly modifying Checkout Liquid. And we're going to talk a little bit about each one of those right now. This time last year, we launched Shopify scripts. And it was really our first attempt and foray to give you powerful tools to manage the discounting process in cart. And since that time, our merchants have been using scripts to power unique discounting strategies for their buyers at a pretty alarming scale. So in an average month, we see well over 100 million cart scripts executed on the platform. That's pretty staggering. That's a lot of custom discounting being run for just Plus merchants. And in February, we released shipping scripts, which further extended the power of scripts into checkout by allowing merchants detailed controls over the display, management, discounting of shipping rates. And since then, we've seen merchants use shipping scripts to alter the shipping experience in new and interesting ways. From simply hiding rates based on the cart's contents, to experimenting with free shipping deals, to building out entire VIP programs that mimic things like Amazon Prime, to give these discounting and incredible experiences to their most loyal of buyers. And today, we're extending the power of scripts even further by giving merchants the ability to manage the payment types that are displayed to their buyers. Today, I'm proud to announce the next member of the scripts family, payment scripts. Payment scripts are available through the same script editor interface that manages all types of scripts. And what it really allows you to do is it allows them to manage the order, the visibility, and the display of the various payment types that are available at checkout. So, for example, you could now hide certain payment types based on the contents of the cart if that payment type is not allowed, based on the region of the world that they're coming from, or based on whether they're wholesale buyers or retail customers. Payment scripts is available today through the same interface that you all know. We're really excited to see what types of things you guys build as we extend the power and the customization capabilities of what's possible with checkout today. So as we just talked about, scripts have been extremely powerful and valuable assets for both yourself and our merchants. But there has actually been a few problems with scripts. So traditionally, scripts have been extremely challenging to determine when things are going wrong. There hasn't been any error notifications, and when things go bump in the night, really the only way is when somebody angrily tells the merchant, or when the merchant finds out and maybe calls you and says, what the hell's going on with this script? Why are the discounts not doing it? So we provided really not great visibility into what errors are happening in the carts and what's caused those issues to happen in the first place. So I'm giving you a preview now of something that we'll be rolling out in the coming weeks, and it's called script error reporting. So what script error reporting actually allows you to do is, through the same script editor interface that you're used to, you can now see a report of the number of production errors that happened from published scripts over the last 24 hours or since the entire time when the script was last published. Not only that, but you will actually be proactively notified when you get your first error on a production script, as well as at increments after that as the errors continue on the site, so that you're actually being notified and you don't need to be on the interface to look at this. But that's actually not all of the story. So, I mean, it would be nice if we just showed you all the errors that were happening on screen and you could see that. But what we actually do is when you click on any of those production error numbers, you actually get a full list of all of the different types of errors that have happened through the scripts. And you can click into each one of those and debug live the script that is actually causing the problem. You can also then, by clicking on the debug button, pull the exact contents of the cart, the customer record, the discount code that was being used at the time that the error was happening, so that you can debug the problem with all the information you need to solve the problem. From there, you can actually make your code changes and republish and deploy your scripts to production. The other method used to modify checkout is checkout.liquid. This remains a hugely popular way for you guys to customize this checkout experience, but in the past has actually posed some problems. So as we go fast at Shopify and as we innovate in the checkout space through things like you're seeing today with Shopify Pay, things can go wrong. So if you're doing things with, say, the DOM, or doing things in sort of a really unstable way, and we go ahead and change that DOM on you, things have broken in the past, and we've seen that. And so we haven't really provided a great set of tooling to give you a heads up when we're going to be making a set of changes to checkout, or giving you the ability to test changes ahead of time. But we also understand that checkout liquid is hugely powerful. And so what we needed to do is find a better way to allow you to test and preview these changes and understand what's coming, so that you can be ready for your merchants and that you can upgrade when it's right for them. So in March, we began rolling out access to the checkout.liquid preview, as we call it, which actually allows merchants to test their modified checkout on upcoming versions of our checkout prior to that checkout being rolled for their site. So when you actually look at Checkout Upgrade now, you actually have a full change log of the things that have been happening. You can preview the checkout on any version of a theme that you went. So you can go into a new theme, make modifications, check it on the new version of checkout as well. So it really provides this great tool so that you can make sure and stagger things and roll things out for your merchants without actually having to get this angry call, but all of a sudden that their checkout's blown up on them. So we understand the power of checkout.liquid, but that power comes with a lot of responsibility. So as you guys make checkout customizations with checkout liquid for your merchants, please, please, please ensure that you're using tools like this to keep them up to date with the latest versions of checkout that we're running, and that you're actually testing the changes for them prior to that. You need to make sure that you're planning that into the process and into any of the activities that you're doing with any of your clients. So we've talked a ton so far about Storefront. We talked about the Storefront API, we talked about scripts, we talked about checkout.liquid, and how we can help and use those things to create compelling experiences. But that experience goes way beyond the storefront that needs to be customized, and it goes straight into the back office. Now that might not be as visible or as sexy as the things that we see in Storefront, but it's hugely important. What the buyer's experience are for fulfilled products, order management, refunds, this is critical to running an operation at scale. Just to give you a number. So if you compare the 75th percentile of all our merchants from plus to non-plus merchants process an average of 125 times more orders per week. That scale is pretty staggering, right? Managing a business like this requires a ton of focus on process and automation and how your back office works to be successful. So why don't we go through an example. So let's say you guys have clients or a merchant that comes to you and says, I've been getting a bunch of fraudulent orders that have been coming in lately. And when you talk to them, you find out that the way they're doing this right now is they may be using a risk analysis engine, but they're capturing payment the minute an order is made. And so together you brainstorm the idea that what you actually want to do is maybe not capture payments right away. You want to capture payments on anything where your risk engine says it's low risk. If it's high risk, you just want to cancel the order. And if it's medium risk, well, maybe I want to notify somebody to go take a look at the order and see what needs to be done. So how would you do this today? How would you help your clients achieve this? Well, there's a few ways. First thing you do, pop open Shopify's admin. Is there anything that can help me here? And this is what you would find. You'd find that our payment authorization methods say something like, you can automatically do this, or you can manually do this. And well, manually is just not going to work for something at this scale. It's clearly not. But it's a step closer to where we need to be. Then we might look at the App Store to see if we can find anything that exists out there, to see if there's anybody who's already tackled or solved this problem. And we might get lucky, and we might find some from some of the amazing app development partners, but we might find that it's not identical to the use case that we need, and it doesn't fully meet what we actually need to do. So what are you left with as a partner or as an app developer helping one of our merchants? You're going to have to write custom code. You're going to have to manage app servers. You're going to have to manage webhooks. You're going to have to a ton of stuff to manage this scenario for it. And either that merchant's going to say, great, let's do it, or they're going to say, I can't afford that. I just can't do that. And neither is a situation that we necessarily want. We want the merchant to be able to experiment, change, and work quickly with their back office automation process to what they need to do. We believe that this isn't the best experience. We believe that you as partners and as our merchants should be able to write these business automation rules yourselves. We believe that it shouldn't be hard for this to happen. And we believe that we've developed something over the past few months that helps solve this problem. I'm incredibly excited to give you guys a glimpse into something that we're working on right now that we think changes the game for the flexibility and customization options that will be available to Plus merchants going forward. I'm incredibly excited to give you guys a glimpse into something we call Shopify Flow. Flow allows you to write your own business logic around the events and timings that happen within the back office and in the automation, all without needing to write a single line of code. So why don't we take a dive in to see what this actually looks like using that exact same use case that we just talked about. So play the first video. So here we are with the Flow interface. I've got some existing flows, and I'm just going to pop one open. And we're going to do it, and we're going to just type in something here. We're going to call this order risk analysis. Then we're going to go over and start building our automation. So here what we're going to do is add a trigger from the system, and we're going to say whenever the risk engine comes back and says that it's been analyzed, I'd like to add a condition. And in that condition, I'm simply going to search for the risk level that it recommends. I'm going to set a condition on there to say that if we see that's equal to accept order, great. This is the use case we talked about. We're just going to go in, select an action here, and actually tell it to capture payment immediately. It's that simple. I activate and publish the flow, and now this type of business logic is actually running live on the store. So let's go ahead and see what that would actually look like for an order that came in. So here we can see I have an order that's been successfully payment captured. And if you see down there in the timeline history, we can see that the flow has actually automated the capture of the payment based on the risk level. So that's pretty cool. 80% of my use case has already been handled with a few clicks. I don't need to host any servers. I don't need to listen for any webhooks. I don't need to do anything. So let's take a look at what would it be like if we take it one step further. So let's go back in and pull open that exact same flow that we just worked with. But this time we're going to add another condition. So rather than just simple conditions, we're going to add another one here. And in this case, what we're actually going to do is we're going to tell it I want to do something when the risk engine tells me that this order really needs to be canceled. So I'm going to pop in, I'm going to add an action, and I'm going to tell it to cancel the order. I'm going to tell it to restock the items, the reason is fraud, and I want to send an email to the customer, or I may choose not to. But also, I want to tag the customer. I know that this guy has been submitting fraudulent orders, so I want to keep a record of that. I want to get the customer record, and I want to tell it that this order has been previously fraudulent. So I'm going to go in and do that. Again, the simple save publishes the flow to the system, and now we can actually see what an automated order like this would look like. Here we can see that this order has automatically been canceled, and if we scroll down, we'll actually see that the app engine for Flow has canceled the order because it's fraudulent, it's restocked the item, sent an email, all because the risk level has been high. If I pop back over to the customer record, we can see that it's already tagged that customer as a fraudulent customer. So all of that automation and logic that we talked about is actually available at the power of your fingertips now, again, without having to write code. So that's really cool. And in that in itself is a massive amount of value. But what if I said, Flow will give you the opportunity to reach out to systems beyond Shopify, to start interacting with things other than what was in its own walled garden. Let's take a look at what would happen if I tried to handle the case investigate, where I want to notify somebody. So again, we're going to do the same thing that we did, and we're going to pop open this order. Now we're going to set another condition on the risk engine, and we're going to set this one to investigate. Now I could do something like send an email. That would be interesting. But it'd be much more interesting if I was able to interact with a system that it was more modern, maybe Slack. So here I'm going to pop open my Slack action. I'm just going to tell it to interact with me on that. So put my name in there, and I'm going to drop a message into that channel. And here I'm going to drop a message, and the cool thing, you'll notice we're using Liquid. So you can actually drop dynamic content into these messages as they go out to the external systems. I save that, publish it, and now I'm sitting around minding my own business, reading the amazing Shopify Plus Enterprise blog, and I get a Flow notification from Slack. If I pop it open, I notice that in Slack, there's an order that needs to be looked at. I can click directly on the link from there and pop me back into Shopify, and actually then make that determination of whether I want to actually capture the payment on that order or whether I want to cancel it. So this is pretty cool stuff, right? And we're showing one use case here, but the thing that Flow will do is empower thousands and tens of thousands of experiences for this. Flow will be available for beta within the next 2 months. We're really, really excited for you guys to get a look at this, and we're really only getting started. Flow will continue to expand over the next little while by giving you more and more building blocks that you need to write your own rules. Whether they be all of the actions in Shopify that are capable, scheduled tasks, and we'll also be allowing the development community to write their own actions so that you can actually power systems and integrations that we've never thought possible. In the meantime, while we wait for these next 2 months, we're incredibly excited to get going. So please come, give us your feedback, tell us what you're excited to make Flow, tell us what you wish or you dream that it could do, so that when we go back to our, after Unite's over, we can make sure that we're making the things that you need to do possible. So just some resources here. There's some help links to Shopify scripts. We don't have time for questions right now, but I will be around on the outside. I'm incredibly excited to get to show you some of the new stuff that we've been working on. Thanks very much. Please come back tomorrow morning here at 10 a.m. for the launch of day 2 of Plus. And everybody have an awesome night at the party. Don't drink too much because we got more exciting stuff tomorrow. Thanks.